All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Golden Eagle Leaders Emerging Leaders Program. We're so happy to have you all here tonight. Hi, my name is Marquise Holyfield. I am the Associate Director of Student Engagement in the Office of Engagement at National Louis University. So I'm the person who sent you all the emails today and the last couple of days and so forth, getting everybody to get on the assessment and so forth. So first thing I want to say is so sorry for you all who had trouble getting on the assessment this week. They went and switched the link on me, and when I inquired of what was happening, it was like, "Oh, you're using the wrong link," and I was like, "Oh, that might have been good information to share." So grateful that everybody was able to do the assessment and ready to go for this evening. So just giving you a little bit about the program. So as we move forward, you all know with the emerging leaders, there are 8 workshops that you must complete in order to go to the next level. And with the workshops, if it comes, typically we will be on Thursday nights. So you all have the flyer and you pretty much will see those dates are reigning true. So what will happen is the day before each workshop, you will get an email from either myself or one of my colleagues. I'm going to tell you what their names are in a little bit, and sending you the Zoom links to the workshop, and they'll send you whatever documents you may need to how to prepare. If it's something that we need you to do, like I had the assessment, we'll always send that a couple of days ahead of time so that you have more than enough time to be able to do it. Process. Also, in the event that you cannot make a live session, which is what we're doing tonight, we will record all sessions. And with the recorded sessions, you will be able to access those sessions off the same link you guys use to register, off the nl.presence.io. And what you would do is you will click on where it says experiences after you log in. So the key factor is you have to log in. So every time you use Eagle Life, you have to log in. Once you log in, you'll click on experiences, go to Eagle Leaders, and then it will take, you can look at the different workshops, you pick emerging leaders, and then you just pick the workshop that you miss, and then the recording will be there along with the quiz. Now, the key factor with that is that with the recordings and the quizzes, they'll be up a week after the presentation has taken place. So a week from now, this recording will be up along with the quiz. Once you complete your quiz and submit it, then you automatically will get the credit for it. We do check the quizzes for accuracy. So if it's somebody who doesn't do very well on the quiz, we might have you go back and look at the video again, but we'll email you directly to let you know that. So that's pretty much how you do it. And you'll see that as you complete each workshop, there'll be a check mark, a green check mark that shows that you have attended and you have completed that program. And you can keep going on to the next one. So that's some basic information. Let me see, I see a couple things in the chat. So let me answer some of these chat questions real quick. Okay, some people are saying they cannot hear. Okay, they fixed it. Yes, so yes, the quizzes are only available a week after. So, but this particular quiz is actually already up because it's the quiz that we've used prior to, but the video from tonight is not going to be up because it usually takes us 24 hours to download the video and then we got to upload it, and it's a little process. So some workshops, some of the quizzes are already up and accessible, but the videos won't be up. So that's why I'm saying give it a week, because my colleagues, so there are 4 of us that will be presenting. So it's myself, my colleague Jordan Colon, my colleague Keith Baltimore, and then my colleague Hannah Wilson will also be doing the different workshops. So you will see all of us at least once, if not twice, throughout the during the time they're presenting. Okay. Okay, so we're talking about people who, for quizzes. So Cynthia, we're gonna have to talk offline because I see some people who have a few disabilities and will need assistance with the quizzes. All the quizzes are on an online piece, so they're a link. So they're not paper. So if we have someone who has a disability, we'll have to work offline to figure out how we best accommodate someone who needs accommodations. And thank you for Cynthia for letting me know anybody who needs accommodations. But the true factor is that everything has a link to it. So it is it's something that you will have to go on the computer and utilize. Okay, perfect. All right. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Just want to make sure with everyone, did everyone receive the email with the electronic documents that I sent to you all? So you should have got a PDF email that I sent yesterday with the electronic documents. If you were able to print them out, that's fine. If you did not print them out, that's also fine, but you will need a separate sheet of paper. You'll need probably a couple sheets of paper. So I just want to make sure you know that. I gave you the documents so you could be able to follow along as I talk about, this is the document we're going to use so that you're not lost in trying to figure out what is Marquise talking about. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. So as I've done a little bit of introductions, again, for those who just got on, my name is Marquise Holyfield, and my top 5 strengths are woo, input, achiever, communication, and connectedness. I will explain what they all mean soon, but first thing I want us to do is, I know it's, let me see, it's 23 of us around here, so if we all want to just go really quickly and just say our names, just say who you are, say hi, my name is, so that we all know who's with us this evening, because you will find that because this is the Emerging Leaders Program, you all will be in workshops together from now until you finish the program. So in the event that you do the quizzes and so forth, you may miss a couple or so, but for the most part, these are the same individuals you'll see over and over again. So it's probably nice to kind of get to know each other. And so if anybody wants to go first.
Hi, Shannon Dunn here.
Thanks, Shannon. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'll go Marissa Post.
Hi, Marissa. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi,
I'll go next.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
I'll go. I'm Maggie Fedak.
Hi, Maddie.
Okay.
Maggie, how are you? Who's next?
I'm Joey Churchill.
Hi, Joey. Nice to meet you.
Nana.
Oh.
Hi, I'm Bea Wildeboer.
Hi, B. How are you?
Hi.
Okay. Okay. Who just went next? Because we didn't hear you. Alexis Jackson. Okay. Hi, Alexis.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Belfies.
Hi.
I'm Jennifer Torres.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Monica Genzio.
Hi, Monica.
I'm Rashida Davis.
Hi,
Hi.
Rashida.
Hi, I'm Sophia.
Hi, Sophia.
Hi everyone, my name's Anna.
Hi, Anna.
Hi, I'm Guadalupe Barrientos.
Hi, Guadalupe.
Hi, I'm Araceli Valadez.
Hi, Araceli.
Hi, I'm Michelle Labinar.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, everybody. My name is Eugene.
Hi, Eugene. How are you?
Nice to be with you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maria.
Hi, Maria. Okay. All right. I think we got just about everybody. So welcome, everybody. We're so glad to have you with us this evening. So the first thing I want you all to be able to do is take out a piece of paper, or if you printed out the documents that I sent you. Okay, Rashida, we can take care of that afterwards. Take out a sheet of paper, or if you printed out the paper I sent to you, you're going to take out where it says writing challenge, and I'm going to give you some instructions. So the first instruction is whether on your piece of paper or on your writing challenge. If you have a piece of paper, you're going to draw 2 columns. So you're going to have a left side column and a right side column. And then on your left hand side column, on the very first line, you're going to write your name as you regularly would write it. The second line, you're going to write it in all caps. The third line, you're going to do all lowercase. The fourth in cursive. 5, you're gonna do it with your signature, how you would sign your name, sign your checks, however way you may want to do it. I'm going to drop these instructions in the chat so that you all have them.
Question, are we writing it 2 times for each one?
Just wait.
Oh, okay.
I'm giving you instructions. I haven't told y'all to do anything yet. So if you started, you're way ahead of yourself. I'm just putting everything in the chat real quick, and then I'm going to tell you all, because I'm going to time you all when you get ready to do it. Okay. So the instructions are in the chat. You're going to write your name, line 1, regularly, line 2, all caps, line 3, all lowercase, line 4, cursive, line 5, you're going to do your signature. So we're going to all do it together as a group, starting right now. I want you only in the left-hand column. That's what I want you to do. And if you are just joining us, we're right now looking, if you check the chat, the instructions are in there about what we're doing. If you printed out the instructions, all the electronic documents that I sent out, then you can go ahead and do, you can use that paper, the writing challenge. If you did not do that, you can get a separate sheet of paper, make 2 columns. On the left-hand column only, you will follow the instructions in the chat. And when you are done, you can do thumbs up. Okay. Looks like most people are done. Okay, does anybody else need a few more minutes? Okay, stop. So what I'm going to ask you to do is for the second column, you're going to do the exact same thing, but if you are right-handed, you now use your left hand. If you are left-handed, you now use your right hand. So use your opposite writing hand to do this.
Starting now.
Starting now. And same as before, when you're done, you just give me a thumbs up. Okay, it looks like most people are done. Does anybody need a couple more minutes?
Still finishing.
Okay, we'll give you a couple more minutes. Anybody else needs a couple more minutes? I like that, Bonnie. She says it looks like a little kid wrote it. We're gonna talk about that.
Done.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let's talk about this a little bit. So before I ask the question, I always ask, like, Marquise, why are we doing this? But first I want to say, why was this? So was this challenging? What was the most challenging? Was it the first time?
Second time was most challenging.
I think writing it the second time, but regardless, writing it in lowercase letters altogether was the hardest.
Really? Okay. That's the
I
first.
intentionally capitalized the, my first initial, and I was like, no, it's lowercase. So
Okay. Thanks for sharing. Okay. Anybody else? The second time was the hardest? Oh, somebody else said it was really hard to write all lowercase letters.
For
I
me,
have
cursive
trigger
was the
thumb.
hardest.
I have trigger thumb, so I have a brace on my finger, so it was really, really hard for me to write.
Yes, I saw that. Oh, did people have difficulty with the cursive writing?
Yeah, for me, it was when we did, our opposite hand, not our dominant hand. The last two, the last two were the hardest.
Last two are the hardest. Okay.
Yeah, it just looks like a little bunch of up, downs.
Yes. So you're probably asking yourself right now, Marquise, why do we do this? Like, we're supposed to be talking about our strengths. Why are you having us doing a writing exercise? So the reason why I'm having you to start with the writing exercise is because part of what we're going to learn tonight is about our top 5 strengths and how to use them and how they'll make us better and more efficient leaders, but also help us to know when we're in our natural gifts and our talents. So Strengthquest helps you to really focus on your strengths. People who focus and engage in their strengths are 3 times more likely to report having excellent quality of life, 6 times more likely to be engaged in their jobs. They look forward to going to work. They have more positive and negative interactions with coworkers. They treat customers better. They tell their friends why. They tell their friends they work for a great company, and they achieve on a better basis overall. And they have positive, creative, and innovative moments. And you're probably thinking, like, well, how is that possible? How are they doing all this different stuff? And so it goes by this philosophy here with strengths when it says the key to success is fully understanding how to apply your greatest talents and your strengths in your everyday life. And that's what Strengthquest is about. So the person who came up with strengths, Peter Drucker, will talk to you guys a little bit about how, like, the reason why I had you to write with first your dominant hand and your non-dominant hand is he will say that we waste so much time working on areas that we need to improve versus focusing on areas that we're already good at. So we put all this time and energy on just becoming mediocre. And so we go from improving from, take more energy to improve from incompetence to mediocre than it takes to improve from first rate to excellent performance. And so that's the key factor where we're learning tonight, is really thinking about, like, how do I use my top 5 strengths? Why are my top 5 strengths important? How do I use them in not just my professional life, but you'll find I'm going to show you ways that you've used them in your personal life and how they benefit you across the board, whether if you're at work, whether you're in school, whether you are in other organizations, on or off campus, how to really utilize your strengths, but also taking you away from this idea of focusing on your weaknesses. We live in a country and a society where we focus more on weaknesses and how to improve than what we're doing already well. And so what we'll learn a little bit more about strengths is taking your natural talents and your gifts and making it this first-rate performance. And we'll talk a little bit about how to do some of those things tonight. Questions about this? Okay. So addressing those weaknesses. So of course, like I said, our culture is focused on weaknesses. We always look at our best and our worst, and weaknesses prevents failure. Strength building leads to really building success. So helping us to really not to focus on our weaknesses, but looking at the opportunity for us to build up our strengths, but helping us to realize that tips for managing our weaknesses, do we start collaborating with other people who that is their strength? Do we start to delegate work to other people to help us to manage the different loads and processes, and for people to work in their strengths? And then do we learn the different skills and knowledge needed for us to overall to use our strengths? So we'll talk a lot about in the coming slides, a lot about teamwork, partnerships, working together, who you best partner with, what do you benefit and gain from those individuals when you partner as well. And so want us to really think about, as we think about this idea of weaknesses and so forth, helping us to think about our natural talents. But we also want us to think about like when we get our report card, those of us when we were in grammar school and high school, we got those report cards, and your parents would be like, oh, you did so great, Shannon, in these areas. And then, but why you get a C in math? If you could just work a little bit harder in the math to bring that up a little bit, but never thinking about, like, what if that was my best? what if the C really was my best? I put everything I had into that C, instead of telling me, focus on, like, you're great as a writer, you're great in learning history, you're great in learning these other different pieces. How do we take these things and learn from them and grow from them, instead of looking at, like, this is where I need to improve? So just want to talk to you guys about, you guys are not the only ones who have taken this test. As you see, we have 34 strengths, and we're going to go over them in a little bit before we get to the most common ones. And there's a combination of an order of your top 5. So this is a long time ago when there was only like 33 million folks that have taken this. There's been more folks that have taken it since then. This was a few years ago. And so what I want to talk about is that our top 5 strengths are key and important because it's a combination in the order. So when you look at them, your number 1 is your number 1 strength. And then when you get to, like, and that's the way the order they're in, number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, we're gonna go over that. When you guys got your results, they were in an order, and that's strategic because that is how your strengths are ordered and listed. But also realizing that you may have a strength that someone else's has, but the order may not be the same. They might not use it in the same way that you use it. So the key factor is your strength is unique to you. Though when we talk about what the overall meaning, it has the same overarching meaning for all of you, but you'll realize when you read your results, it's going to pick one of those key meanings and talk about what is key and important for you. So at the beginning, you heard me talk about mine is woo, mine is input, achiever, connectedness. I just forgot mine. Connectedness and communication. And so when we think about, for me, I'll give the example, when we look at input, input when it talks about my own strength. So it's like it says either you like to collect things, you like to collect information. So you might have a stamp collection, you might like different other things that you might collect, baseball cards and so forth, or antiques. And so for me, you like to collect and archive in things or information. So I like to archive information. So I'm the person when you're out and about meeting someone new, talking, and we could be in a whole conversation and someone will bring up a random topic, and then I'm the person who has that statistic. Did you know that so-and-so, I'm that person because I collect information and I drop it in a conversation when it's needed. So sometimes it'll be good, beneficial information, and sometimes it's like, Marquise, why did you bring it up? Because I'm collecting information. Rashida said that's her too. She said she didn't know there was a name for that. Yes, there is a name for that. So what we're going to do before we get to the most common ones is all of you are in that packet. So whether you have printed it out or if you open it up electronically, we have all of the different strengths. So what I'm going to have everybody to do is to go around and say your top 5 strengths, and if you would just pick one of the 34 to read. It's up to you to read so that we kind of know what all of them mean. It's on that Strength Finder theme.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, this is Marissa. Hi, everyone. You probably can't see me, but so I got competition, focus, ideation, futuristic, and analytical. And then do I pick anyone? It doesn't have to necessarily be mine to read.
No, it doesn't have to be mine, but if you want to, can we go in alphabetical order? So that way, yeah, perfect. So if you want to do the top one, that's fine.
Okay, so achiever. People exceptionally talented in the achiever theme work hard and possess a great deal of stamina. They take immense satisfaction in being busy and productive.
Perfect. Thanks, Marissa.
I'll go second. My top 5 are input, empathy, strategic, positivity, and responsibility. And then for the second one is activator. It says people exceptionally talented in the activator theme can make things happen by turning thoughts into action. They are often impatient.
Okay, thanks, Shannon.
You're welcome.
I'll go next. So my top 5 were learner, input, analytical, responsibility, and significance. And the third here is adaptability. It says people exceptionally talented in adaptability theme prefer to go with the flow. They tend to be now people who take things as they come and discover the future one day at a time.
Thanks, Monica.
I'll go. I had activator, futuristic, positivity, achiever, and competition. And then I will read analytical. People exceptionally talented in the analytical theme search for reasons and causes. They have the ability to think about all the factors that might affect a situation.
Thanks, Maggie.
Welcome.
I can go next. This is B. I had my top 5 were achiever, intellection, input, discipline, and learner. And I will read for arranger. People exceptionally talented in the arranger theme can organize, but they also have a flexibility that complements this ability. They like to determine how all of the pieces and resources can be arranged for maximum productivity, which sounds like an important skill.
Yeah, thanks, B.
I go next.
Okay.
Jennifer, my top 5 are restorative, correctness, adaptability, arranger, and input. And the next one is belief, and it means people exceptionally talented in the belief theme have certain core values that are unchanging. Out of these values emerges a defined purpose for their lives.
Thanks, Jennifer.
I'll go next.
I'll go next. Oops.
I'll go next. So I'm Joey. Mine were positivity, communication, woo, strategic, and significance. So the next one is command. So I'll read that one. People exceptionally talented in the command theme have presence. They take control of a situation and make decisions, which I do that in my job anyways.
Thanks, Joey.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Hi, I'm Araceli. Mine were intellection, significance, input, command, and self-assurance. And I'll read communication. People exceptionally talented in the communication theme generally find it easy to put their thoughts into words. They are good conversationalists and presenters.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Araceli.
I'll do the next one.
Abby. I'm
Mine-
Abby. Oh. Sorry, go ahead.
Abby, do you want to go?
Okay, thank you. Hi, I'm Abby. My top 5 is positivity, empathy, achiever, responsibility, and developer. I'll go for empathy. People exceptionally talented in empathy team can sense other people's feelings by imagining themselves in others' lives or situation.
Thanks, Abby. Bobby, you want to go next?
My 5 were woo, arranger, communication, responsibility, and includer. And communication says people exceptionally talented in the communication team generally find it easy to put their thoughts into words. They are good conversationalists and presenters.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Hi, this is Alexis, and my first one is deliberative, learner, futuristic, strategic, and input. And the word is competition, and it says people exceptionally talented in their progress against the performance of others. They strive to win first place in the deal and contest.
Okay. Thank you, Alexis.
I can go next.
Okay.
My top 5 were deliberative, futuristic, realtor, ideation, and significance. And the next one is competition. People exceptionally talented in the competition theme measure their progress against the performance of others. They strive to win first and revel in contest.
Okay. Thank you. Who's next?
I can go next. My top 5 are restorative, learner, futuristic, relator, and strategic. I can go to learner. People exceptional talented in the learner theme have a great desire to learn and want to continuously improve. The process of learning rather than the outcome excites them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Eugene. Who's next?
I can go next. My top 5 were futuristic, significance, responsibility, competition, and relator. And then I think the next one is context. It says people.
It's connectedness.
Connectedness. People talented in the connectedness theme have faith in the links among all things. They believe there are few coincidence and that almost every event has meaning. Sorry.
That's fine. Thank you, Guadalupe. All right, who's next?
I can go next. Hi, everyone. This is Maria. I have achiever, analytical, belief, focus, realtor, and I'm going to go with focused. People exceptionally talented in the focus theme can take a direction, follow through, and make the corrections necessary to stay on track. They prioritize, then act.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Michelle. My top 5 were connectedness, maximizer, significance, woo, and communication. Consistency. People exceptionally talented in the consistency theme are keenly aware of the need to treat people the same. They try to treat everyone with equality by setting up clear rules and adhering to them.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Who hasn't gone yet?
I could go next.
Okay.
So my top 5 were restorative, harmony, realtor, achiever, and responsibility. And then we left off on
Context.
Context.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Deliberative, people exceptionally talented in the deliberative theme are best described by the serious care they take in making decisions or choices. They anticipate obstacles.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Thank you, Jocelyn.
I can go next.
Perfect.
My name's Asiel, and my top 5 were includer, restorative, belief, communication, and woo.
Mm-hmm.
And then we the developer, people exceptionally talented in developer theme, recognize and cultivate the potential in others. They spot the signs of each small improvements and derive satisfaction from evidence of progress.
Okay. Thank you, Asiel.
I could go next. I have consistency, positivity, achiever, arranger, and harmony. And I believe we left in discipline. People exceptionally talented in the discipline theme enjoy routine and structure. The world is best described by the order they create.
Okay, thanks, Danielle. Okay. Anybody else who hasn't gone yet?
I haven't gone yet.
Okay.
My top 5 are input, connectedness, relator, intellection, and developer. Someone already did empathy before.
Yeah, so the next one will be futuristic.
Okay.
Thanks, Melissa.
Futuristic, people exceptionally talented in the futuristic theme are inspired by the future and what could be. They energize others with their visions of the future.
Okay. Thanks, Melissa. Anybody else? I think everybody's gone now. Okay. I will read a couple. So one of the ones we missed was context. Was people exceptionally talented in the context themes enjoy thinking about the past. They understand the present by researching its history. Then I'm gonna jump to harmony. People exceptionally talented in harmony theme look for consensus. They don't enjoy conflict. Rather, they seek areas of agreement. And then I'll read one more. People exceptionally talented in the ideation theme are fascinated by ideas. They are able to find connections between seemingly disparate phenomena. Okay, I see you see some things in the chat. No, someone read focus already. They read it earlier, Shannon. All right. Anybody else want to read any of the other ones? Even if you've gone already?
I can read a couple.
Okay, perfect.
So includer. Includer is people exceptionally talented in the includer theme except others. They show awareness of those who feel left out and make an effort to include them. Individualization. People exceptionally talented in the individualization theme are intrigued with the unique qualities of each person. They have a gift for figuring out how different people can work together productively. And input. People exceptionally talented in the input theme have a craving to know more. Often they like to collect and archive all kinds of information.
Okay. I will do intellection. People who are exceptionally talented in the intellection theme are characterized by their intellectual activity. They are introspective and appreciate intellectual discussions.
I can do a few more.
Okay.
Learner. People exceptionally talented in the learner theme have a great desire to learn and to want to continuously improve. The process of learning rather than the outcome excites them. Maximizer. People exceptionally talented in the maximizer theme focus on strengths as a way to stimulate personal and group excellence. They seek to transform something strong into something superb. And then I'll do positivity, and then it can be somebody else's turn. Positivity. People, especially talented in the positivity theme, have contagious enthusiasm. They are upbeat and can get others excited about what they are going to do.
I'll do the next two. Relator. People exceptionally talented in relator theme enjoy close relationships with others. They find deep satisfaction in working hard with friends to achieve a goal. Responsibility. People exceptionally talented in responsibility theme take psychological ownership of what they say they will do. They are committed to stable values such as honesty and loyalty.
I can do the next three.
Okay.
Restorative. People exceptionally talented in the restorative theme are adept at dealing with problems. They are good at figuring out what is wrong and resolving it. Self-assurance. People especially talented in the self-assurance theme feel confident in their ability to manage their own lives. They possess an inner compass that gives them confidence that their decisions are right. And significance. People exceptionally talented in the significance theme want to be very important in others' eyes. They are independent and want to be recognized.
Okay. Who would like to do the last two for us?
I can do them if you want me to.
Perfect.
All right, strategic. People exceptionally talented in the strategic theme create alternative ways to protocol. Faced with any given scenario, they can quickly spot the relevant patterns and issues. And the last one is woo. People exceptionally talented in the woo theme love the challenge of meeting new people and winning them over. They derive satisfaction from breaking the ice and making a connection with someone. No wonder yours is the first one, Marquise.
It is my top one.
Yes, it is.
So we'll talk about order and we'll talk about all that in a little bit. But one of the reasons why I always have us read them all out loud is because a lot of times when people start saying theirs, other people haven't read the other 34. So they're like, what does this mean? So I like for us to kind of read them all out loud first so that we kind of get an idea of what they all mean and you know what they are. Then we always ask the question about, so with your top 5, did any surprise you? Any of those, it was like, yes, this is me, or it was like, where does this come from? Mm-mm. And it's open to anybody.
I'm a little surprised with my very first one with input. I'm not much of a collector. I'm more of a hoarder than I am a collector, but I do read a lot and I do have a lot of books. So that makes sense. But other than that, I mean, empathy, totally me. Strategic, totally me. Positivity, totally. And responsibility, totally. You know, so.
But see, Shannon, the hoarding piece is still the collection.
I kind of figured that, but yeah.
We're going to talk about the good pieces and the bad pieces of our strengths, because you're going to be like, wait, there are bad pieces of them? Yes, when we're not thriving in them. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Anybody else want to share theirs?
I'll go ahead. My biggest surprise, like my top 5 seem to describe me pretty well. I've got achiever, intellection, input, discipline, and learner. But what really surprised me was that deliberative wasn't higher, because I always overthink all of my decisions. So I was really surprised that wasn't on my top 5. I'm sure like if I unlocked the full report and I saw the order, it would still be pretty high up there, but I was surprised that it wasn't one of my defining strengths.
Okay, cool. Thanks, B. And we got time for one more person.
I think for me, it was a little bit different because I've taken this test before and I didn't get the same ones. So I don't know if it's like, it's just who I am now in life or who I was. I don't know. That kind of confused me. The only one that was the same was input. And then, yeah, I sympathize with the hoarder. I'm definitely a hoarder.
Okay.
Hoarder of books.
Yeah, it happens. So thank you all for everybody who shared, but I also kind of wanted to let you all know too, there are some most common ones and there's some least common ones. And we're only bringing them up so that you kind of know that there's a lot of people in the world that may have your strength. It may not be in the same order and they may not use it the same way you do, but it's nice to know that you're part of a group. And then those of you who have 1 or 2 or maybe 4 out of your 5, there's in the least common, that doesn't mean that, oh my God, there's nobody else like me. It just means that more people tend to have the others than that, but it doesn't mean that yours don't play a vital role in who you are, a vital role in how you will lead, a vital role in how you do things in your leadership roles across the board. So achiever, I heard achiever a lot. Relator, we heard a relator a lot. Learner, responsibility, strategic, those are the most common ones. And then discipline, command, significance, self-assurance, and context are the ones that most are least common. But I've actually found a lot of people who have a lot of the least common ones, and not that many people who have the most common ones. So it's funny. So as I do this over time, it kind of switches for me. So what we're going to do is, you all have this sheet that says name it and claim it. So I think it's like the second or the third sheet of paper in your packet. So if you notice that for name it or claim it, I'm going to read what it's asking you to do. So you're going to take one of your themes, and under name it, it says make your signature theme your own. Identify what the theme means to you. Then you're going to claim it and appreciate the unique power and value you have and you bring to others. Then you're going to aim it, flex your talent, intentionally practice using and developing this talent in a set of talents. And you see how it's a big circle. So you name it, you claim it, you aim it, you keep just going around. So on your paper, so you got a couple questions. So under name it, it says, what words or phrases in your theme description resonated strongly with you? So when you looked at, when it defined it, so you can either use your short themes descriptions, or you can look in your results and be like, okay, yeah, this resonated with me the most. So some of us has kind of talked about this a little bit. Then the next one we go to claim it is, when has this theme helped you be successful in the past? How does this theme help you to be successful in whatever role? So your current role could be a job, it could be in leadership, it could be in a classroom, it could be a volunteer role. And then the last piece, we're going to aim it. In what 2 ways could you start using this theme more intentionally tomorrow? So I want you guys to take a few minutes. I'm going to give you guys about, let's say, 6 minutes to fill this out, and then we're going to come back and discuss. We have about 2 more minutes left. Those of you that are still working. We're down to our last minute. Okay, time's up. All right, let's bring ourselves back in. So, who would like to share?
Okay, I guess I'll go first and share. So I named mine positivity, and the words that struck me in it were talented and enthusiastic.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I claimed it, in my past, it allows me to have, positive motivation and, show my talent and how, I can succeed with that. The way I aimed it from future use is I can, use my talent to help others reach newfound success, showing them stuff. And for the enthusiastic, positive motivation, it would help encourage other people to work harder, and that shows leadership skills, I believe.
Okay, thanks, Joey. All right, anybody else want to share?
Yeah, I can go. I picked for my theme learner.
Mm-hmm.
The way that I named it, this quote really stuck out to me. The process of learning rather than the outcome excites them. Like that's me 100%. The way that I claim it is in classroom and in work settings, my ability to retain and immediately recall information has set me apart and also helped with group projects and work situations. Being able to hold on to information has been good for me. And then the way that I want to aim it is channeling that desire for continuous improvement through practicing my skills, whether an instrument, one of the languages I'm trying to learn, things like that. Take some time to more intentionally practice those and work ahead for my next class meeting by learning the next topic that we're talking about.
Thanks, B. You are definitely a learner. You see how she just transformed all of those different pieces? It's showing. Okay, we can do one more.
I can share, I guess. So I also picked learner, but for me on the name it side, for me it's the phrase that stuck out is wanting to continuously improve, and that's definitely true for me. And the way this theme has helped me in the past is that it's, for example, when I approach different situations, it's helped me to explore and learn what each side of a certain situation, what the viewpoints are, so I can better understand where each person's coming from, because I have that willingness to kind of look at, you know, and understand each person's viewpoint. And then the way it's going to help in a future role is that learning, you know, basically new skills and topics expands my abilities and also possible career opportunities as well, but just also expands my view of the world. And the way I aim it is to basically challenge myself to learn maybe topics that I'm not as much drawn to, or, you know, as highly interested in, just so that I don't limit myself just to the topics that I'm maybe passionate about. And then also refine the way that I learn as well, look at different approaches. I've done a lot of training of, you know, in previous roles I've done. So just find different ways to better learn.
Okay. Thank you, Mommy. And I just definitely want to add what B said in the chat. She talked about she loves how we can take different things from the same strength and we all approach it differently. And so that's the key and important piece about your strength. So one of the things I wanted you all always to think about is to think of yourself as this big, gigantic puzzle, and that puzzles are created in so many different pieces. And so you have an increment piece in the puzzle, someone else has an increment piece in the puzzle, but you need all the pieces in the puzzle to make everything work. And so, like I said, you could have the same exact strength, but you use it in a completely different way. It may amplify something completely different in you than it does someone else. And so that's key and important as we start to kind of look at our strengths moving forward. So one of the things you'll learn about me as we continue to do some of these workshops and some of my colleagues, I never ask you all to do anything that I don't actually practically ask you all to put into place. So I'm that person that will ask you to learn something new, but I'm going to give you a practical way of doing it. So we got a couple statements here. And we got a couple statements here. And so I like to help you all to kind of practice your strengths a little bit more so that you can be able to recognize when you're using them, how you're using them, and in everyday life pieces. So the next couple of things we're going to do is some everyday life ones, but I want us to figure out, do we know what strengths is coming into play with the different statements? So if we were in person, I would have us all stand up so we can do thumbs up, or we can say, yes, this is me. So if you, if you always talk to people in elevators, airplanes, grocery stores, and wherever you go, do a thumbs up. We'll figure out at the end which one it is. Okay, the next one. Do you always write a list of things to do and you stick to it? Yes, I got people saying yes. Okay, perfect. Okay, the next one. You need to pick someone to race while driving. Okay. Some people, I'm seeing a lot of no's. Okay. All right. If you push the elevator button to remind the elevator that you are there. So are you anybody of those people that you get on the elevator and you push the button like a couple of times, hoping that it would move faster? I got a bunch of yeses. Somebody said only today. Okay, perfect. So let's go back
about the asking questions.
Say it again. Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I missed that one. So who likes to ask a lot of questions? That would be me.
That would be me.
Okay. I got some definitely yeses. Okay, perfect. So which strengths do we think these are? So the first one, which one we think it is? And y'all can just shout it out.
Whoa.
Yes. It is woo. The second one?
Input? Or responsibility?
Responsibility could be it for sure, but there's one more.
Strategic.
Thinking discipline.
Discipline could be that. It also can be achiever. Any achievers out there that likes to have that list and cross everything off? You get upset when you can't finish the list?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yes.
I'm sure it's probably somewhere on my list. It's not my top 5, but yeah.
Yeah, it's one of mine. So, and then needs to pick someone to race while driving. I think that's one of our easier ones.
Competition.
Yes, competition. All right, ask a lot of questions.
Input.
Yes, input. What other ones do you think can go with this one too?
Learner.
There's another one.
Is it communication?
Yes, communication. Okay. And then the last one, push the elevator button to remind you that the elevator that you are there. Which one is that?
Impatience. Oh.
That's not one of my words.
Deliberative.
Yes, for sure. Okay. So those of us we did a quick exercise to realize, oh, wait a minute, my strengths come into play even with basic things every day. Not just when I'm doing something for work or in a leadership role, but every day you're utilizing your strengths. Which makes us come to the next one of how do we enhance our strengths to make sure that we're using them at the best performance? So strengths is your natural ability. So you're taking that talent and it's your natural way of thinking, behaving. So when you think about learner, when you think about achiever, when you think about analytical, strategic, this is one of your natural ways that you think and feel and behave. So it's natural to you. You do it so innately, sometimes you don't even realize you're doing it. Has anybody figured it out that you're using some of your strengths and people compliment you on your strengths and you'd be like, well, what are you talking about? This just who I am. And so when you think about that, and then you add in this idea and the concept around how do I make it strengthen my strengths, is actually looking at it as time, practice, skills, developing and building knowledge. So you can be naturally great at this, but are you putting the time and energy you need to build and develop the strength? Because we're going to talk about a little bit later that when you don't put in the time and energy to build it and develop the strengths, you can be also using your strengths in a negative way that does not enhance that strength for you. So when you take the talent, you take the investment, it equals the strength, being able to have the ability to consistently provide near perfect performance. And that's what we want to do. So a lot of us have our top 5 strengths, but are we practicing them every day? Are we practicing them in very intentional ways in our leadership roles? Are we practicing them in different relationships and things that we have so that we at that near perfect performance? Because you want to be able to get to the point where you can look at things and realize, oh, so for me, when we come to my achiever tells me that I like to be productive, I like to keep busy, I also like to get things done. But also with my achiever, I have a hard time saying no. I can take on a lot of different responsibilities and be overwhelmed in the process. So me helping to take that investment in time and practicing so that my achiever is a good piece for me is I've learned how to delegate. I've learned how to ask other people to help me out. I've learned how to say no to different pieces and projects and giving them to someone else so that it becomes a strong strength for me and not overwhelm me, and it no longer is benefiting me. Because if it's taking you to a negative place, it's taking you to a place where you're not performing at your best, then it's no longer a strength. And so that's what we want to talk about here when we talk about the definition, making sure, yes, it's always going to be a talent for you because it's natural for you. But that time and investment and knowing how do I better use this strength, better use my time and practicing it to make it a near perfect strength, because that's what we all want to be able to do. And then you have to remember when I talk about that puzzle piece, if you're not using your strength at its near perfect performance, you're not allowing someone else to do that either. So you have to think about it when you're working with a team and working with other people, that part of you understanding what your strengths are. And when we talk about, instead of working on improving ourselves from incompetence to mediocrity. So instead of you being mediocre at it, Cindy could be excellent in that area. And if Cindy's excellent in that area, why not let Cindy shine and help her develop her strength to use it as the best of her ability? Questions on any of these? Okay. The next piece. So what we're going to do, you guys all see there is a worksheet that says use your strengths in your insight report to complete my strengths and how I use them. So I want you to pick another strength. You're going to write in the description what the definition of strength is, and then why is the strength? So what does it enable and empower you to do? And then when was the last time you used that strength? Just pick one.
We're just picking one, right?
Yeah, just pick one.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And just give me a thumbs up when you're done. I see a couple of thumbs up. We're going to give a couple people another minute or so. Okay, we're going to ask everybody to come back in. And I'm going to show an example. Hopefully it wasn't one of the ones you all used. And okay, did anybody use activator? Okay, perfect. All right, anybody want to share a little bit? We'll take one or two. Okay, go ahead.
I chose empathy. The description or the definition is can sense other people's emotions or feelings. That's like the shortened version. It empowers me I can anticipate the situation or needs of people, which it actually helps me in my job because I'm a behavioral therapist and a teacher's assistant in a behavioral school. So I can basically read situations before they actually happen, or say if a student is having or about ready to have a breakdown or, flip a desk or whatever, I can somewhat read the situation or feel those feelings or be able to understand what's going on before it actually happens. so that I can diffuse the situation.
Thank you, Shannon. Excellent example.
Thank you.
Okay. Do we have anybody else wants to share theirs?
I'll go ahead and go.
Okay.
Mine was communication.
Mm-hmm.
And the definition is generally find it easy to put their thoughts into words.
Okay.
And then why it's a strength? It's because like you need that to get around in the world. You have to be good at communication. When I recently used the strength would be when I was doing a home visit today. I was explaining our program to the parents, and it made them feel like that much more at ease because they were like, you know, talking about their fears and their concerns with their child being in our program with everything going on with the pandemic. So I was able to communicate like everything that we're doing and the procedures that we're taking, and it made that parent feel so much more at ease.
Okay. Thank you, Bonnie. And so, as you guys probably, you guys are probably noticing a pattern. So it's really helping you all to be able to identify your strengths in many different situations. So here, even with the example, activator, move action quickly, make quick decisions, and they're a personal trainer. So some people look at this and go, wait, I never even thought about that. But you're using your strengths in so many different ways. And we want you to make sure that you become comfortable with it, because the more comfortable you are with your strengths, the more you're able to identify your strengths. And when you're utilizing them, and then you also will become good at knowing other people's strengths and seeing what they're good at and allowing them to be able to utilize their strengths as well. And so we're only going to do, for the sake of time, we're only going to do one of these. It's another activity that we have to kind of help you to identify your strengths. So we will do the bottom one. Your closet at home. Is it color coordinated and everything is in its place? Or is it a total mess? Or are you somewhere in between? And when you get your answer, I want you to think about which strength of yours comes into play by how you organize your closet.
Well, I think we all know mine. The input and the hoarding. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I was going to say my input strength probably comes into play in my closet because I have it organized by season, then by length, then by color. So
okay, I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad.
No, that's my archivist at work though.
Yeah, that's the archivist part working together. See, it's so natural you don't even realize it. And then Shannon talks about hers and the hoarding. Okay, anybody else?
I'm probably in between because I got the input factor, so I have a terrible time of getting rid of anything. But it's like if you look at my closet, it's at least all organized. Like all the t-shirts, they're even categorized by like travel shirts and all those kinds of things. But then you go to other parts of my closet, and it's, you know, it's in there.
Okay, perfect. Is anybody on the other end of the spectrum? Like my closet is a mess. Okay, Joey said he can't get rid of anything. He's part hoarder too. Okay. So part of this is, like I said, helping you all to kind of get a little bit more comfortable. I hope you start to realize as we continue to go through each activity, it's getting easier and easier for you to start to identify those strengths and how you're using them. So when you have to put them into play, Rashida says that she partly brought closet organizers and only partially uses them. Perfect. And then Abby talks about how just her shirts and her pants and her shirts are separated. Everybody has their own system and what makes them work. Actually, my pants and shirts are separated too. And mine is It's not color coordinated, but I do have all the skirts, all the pantses, all the dresses, all the blouses, everything together in one fashion. Now, my shoes, on the other hand, they have racks, but they're not labeled by like season or anything like that. Danielle said, "Oh, LOL, me too." She said, Danielle says, the positive part of me comes out when I say I will not get rid of things because I will fit in them again one day. Yes, perfect. So as you see, it's getting easier for us to be able to utilize all of our strengths. And part of that is because I want you all to start to, as we start to shift from everyday life, really want to start really thinking about like your strengths and your role. So you can think about, you can pick any leadership roles you want. We'll take 1 or 2 people to kind of do this. And so the example here is like critical activities. So you're leading meetings and they're using context because they're always the one providing the copies, relative information, including minutes from the past meeting to inform current conversation. Because if you have context as your top 5, you are the person that needs to go back to the past, collect all the information, think on it a little bit before you speak. And so it's cool to have people in context because they are your archivers. They have all your history. They can bring out everything that you need to know. They're the people to keep your minutes. They keep you organized and efficient, but they don't talk very much. But when they do talk, they are powerful because they've taken the time to really think about the context of when everything is happening and why it's happening and why we should move in what different direction. Okay. So does anybody want to take a quick stab at it? Pick one of your critical roles and responsibilities. It could be from either your job or from one of your other leadership responsibilities that you have.
Well, one of mine is responsibility, and I sometimes have a hard time. When it comes to people come to me for help with a lot of things, I have a hard time saying no to a lot of people. So I have a tendency to take on a lot more than I probably should. And that's like your willingness to volunteer may sometimes lead you to take on more than you should. That is totally like 100% me. So I don't know if that's something that you're looking for that, critical activity or that type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when I'm talking about critical activity, it's just an aspect of your job. So like this person, they're leading meetings. So for like me, I would use presentations as mine, and then I would use communication because when I'm doing all the different presentations, so I am making sure that I'm thinking about the people who are visual, the people who are auditory, making sure that you have all your different pieces. You notice that we've been doing a lot of interactive. So because I'm a person who hates to be sitting in webinars or workshops and people talk to me the whole time and I don't get to talk. And it makes it boring. So I try to make things interactive and practical and everyday skills. So I just gave you my example.
I was gonna say I could apply my intellection skill to like leading discussions in my book club. Because even if we're not reading anything particularly intellectually stimulating, it's interesting to see what people think critically about novels and other like fun reading things.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, B. Great example.
I can kind of also go off of that too, as far as like the positivity. Basically within like some of our group therapy sessions or whatnot at school, I always try and look for the positive in that situation with a student or with, if they're trying to focus on the negative, I always try and find a positive or something good to come out of what is happening at that particular moment.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Great examples. Anybody else before we go on to the next slide? Okay.
I was gonna say for me, probably because I do conduct sometimes a lot of training sessions in my position that I had in the past. And so that challenges me to become a more active learner in terms of whatever topic it is for work that I had to do, so that I could be, you know, maybe not the perfect subject matter expert, but enough to be able to pass that knowledge on to whoever it was that I was trying to train for that session.
Okay. And it's key and important, like you guys have this electronically, I sent it to you. So as you're trying to work on and develop your strengths to make it that near perfect performance, you can start looking at some of your other strengths and then finding a critical activity. So something that's in your role or responsibility, in some of your leadership roles, and kind of put them and figure out like, well, how am I using that? How am I using that so that it's making me grow? It's making me to really move myself to the next level. Because then we'll talk about too, is going to be ways I'm going to have you start to think about like, okay, now how am I using that when it's not taking me to grow? So then you can kind of learn from those pieces too. So part of the reasons why we give you also these electronically is for you to kind of fill them all in, so you can do all your 5, work on them, and continue to find ways of how you're getting to their near perfect performance. Okay, so I want you all to think about partnerships, because strengths, it's not only just about you as in your leadership role, but also leading other people and leading a team and working together in a team. So I want you to think about overall, we're going to look at the different questions. So it says, with whom do you partner? What talents does this person possess that makes it a valuable partnership? Why do people partner with you? So what are they getting from you? And then what is the greatest talent and benefit? What is the greatest talent and benefit? Your greatest and talent and benefits this person. So you can pick a person, you could pick a group that you work with, however way you want to use this example, but I want to think about who you partner with and what makes it, what talents does this person possess that makes it a valuable partnership for you? And then of course, who do you partner with? And what is the greatest benefit people are getting from you? Okay. Are we all ready? Okay. So, who wants to share? Monica, you want to go?
Me? Did you say?
Yes, Monica.
Oh, okay. So for me, I picked I actually it was funny, I picked Eddie for why I seek a partnership with him on a regular basis, as well as also, you know, we kind of like seek each other out. For the reason why though, the talents that he possesses, it's a when we are working on a project together, for example, we both take ownership of our portion and help each other. We drive each other. It's kind of like a give and take type of relationship where we'll analyze and stuff like that. But we definitely, you know, push each other and help each other out to complete projects together. But I think part of the reason why, on the flip side, at the part, why do people partner with you? I think that he can count on me to provide input and ideas, and also take responsibilities to drive the project to completion.
Okay. Perfect.
Did you want me to keep going?
Oh, if you want to, go ahead.
Oh, well, the other one that I for the why do people partner with you? I also have here Freddie, because we both have different areas of strengths. So we each contribute in areas that, you know, in those areas of each area where we have our own strengths. So that's why I partner with him.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Monica. Anybody else want to go?
I can go.
Okay.
So a little bit about my background. I work in a daycare center and I'm the assistant director, and I partner really well with my director. And in some instances, I kind of take charge with that activator role. And I'm a go-getter. I want to do something. When we come up with ideas, I'm like, all right, we got to do it. But then we work well because she's a little bit more analytical and she's like, well, we have to do this and this before we can do this. So the balance is I kind of get her to get the ball rolling, but then she kind of ropes in and makes sure what we want to do is okay. I'm gonna mute, my dog is barking.
Thanks, Maggie. Anybody else? Okay, perfect. So part of this is helping you to get prepared as we start to talk about, like I said, using your strengths and how you lead with other folks, but also helping us to get this idea and concept as a team. Okay. Joey said he's a spotlight hog when I work alone. Totally understand. But want to kind of move you guys in the next direction to think about your partnerships and how they're helping you. Because remember, like I told you before, with your strengths, it's not just about you, but also how do you help other people to utilize their own strengths? When we talked about that idea, the concept of all of us being that that part of that big giant puzzle, and we need all the different pieces together to be able to make that big piece of that big picture come to life. So knowing how you partner with other people, what things that are valuable in partnerships with them helps you to be able to think about, like, well, how am I using my strengths so I can be a valuable partner? How do I work together as a team? How do I build out some of my greatest talents and strengths, but how do I pull that out of some other folks as well? And we do some of this with this idea called theme weaving. And so here we have harmony, input, and consistency. So we know that the person who has harmony is going to be the individual that loves to make sure that everybody is getting along, everybody is being heard, The person with input is going to bring in all of our knowledge, all of our archive knowledge, all the information that we need, help us to make good decisions. And consistency is going to make sure that everybody has the same amount of time, has all the documents they need. No one's going to be left out. Everything's going to work together as a team. And we do this successfully because it shows what type of team are you actually building. So you have a harmonious team that has input, consistency, where we all can work together to produce this effective piece and product, or this effective team. You've noticed how if we take one of these pieces away, then we're left with a hole. We're left with a piece. Something is missing. So when we think about theme weaving, we think about our strengths. Why we talk about the partnerships are key and important. Is like, who do you need on your team? Who is valuable to you? Who makes your job more effective? Who helps you to get your things done? When you're in your leadership role, you're maybe leading a team. How do you make sure you know to build up that skill in that particular employee that works underneath you or aside you? How do you build up those things in your colleagues? And as you all are pursuing other careers and so forth, when you are in management, if you're not currently in management, how are you leading that team to the future and take it to the next level and building those skills and learning, like I told you, that fine art of delegating, that fine art. This is when this collaboration piece comes into piece. When we talked about how do we kind of ward off some of those weaknesses and addressing some of those weaknesses instead of focusing on being incompetent to mediocrity, how do we bring in other people that this is their jam, this is what they do, and it helps to build this great cohesive team that we work together strategically. And so it brings me to the next piece. You all have that the worksheet that says the four domains of team strength. And so when we look at the 4 domains of team strength, I want us to look at the fact that we have all these executing strengths, influencing strengths, relationship building strengths, and strategic strengths. And you probably guys are probably looking right now, and you can look across the board at your strengths and how many people, I want you guys to take a quick glance, think about your strengths, look at the 4 domains of leadership and developing your team strength. How many people have strengths in all 4 places? If you do, just raise your hand. Or you can throw it in chat. Okay, Danielle does, okay. Joey does. I do, okay. How many of us have strengths in 3 of the places? Okay, Monica does. Okay, Shannon does. Anybody else? Okay, Marissa. Perfect. Now, last question. Does anybody, Abby, okay, does anybody have all their strengths and only one? Oops, sorry folks. Is all their strengths and only one? Alexa says all of her strengths are 1. Cindy says hers is in 2. Okay, perfect. The reason why I bring this up is because as you are developing and utilizing your strengths, you need to know where do I fit when it comes to my team. So think about your coworkers, think about teams that you're leading, future teams that you will be leading. So, you know, for an effective team to have, you need to have all 4 of these. You need to have your people who are going to be our executors, who's going to get the job done. They're going to get it and we're going to move. We got our influencers. So if you're thinking about who are going to be our people that's going to bring folks in, encourage people to work with us, sell whatever product we're doing, or get them to be on board. Relationship builders are the folks that keeps that relationship going. So keep that partnership going. Keep us to continue to be successful, to be able to move to the next level. And our strategic people are our next level people. So we got our futuristic people who are thinking far ahead in the future. We got our input people because they got all of our information. We got our strategic people laying everything out. What does the next piece look like? We got our analytical people analyzing all the data, analyzing all the different ways we can go. Think about it if you are on a team where you only have the strategic thinkers. We in a little place of hurt, right? because you're not getting anything done. You got a whole lot of thinking going on, but there's no execution. There's no relationship building. And so it's key for you when you think about where your strengths is, making sure you're putting people around you that are in these other areas, and you can start to see the people who are executors and our influencers and relationship builders. You'll be able to see it without them even knowing what their top 5 strengths are, without them having even taken this, because it's going to people that's constantly going to be like, I'll do that, I'll get it done. You know who your doers are in your office and who you work with. You know who your influences are. No matter what, they're talking, they're reassuring, they working with other people, bringing other people in. And do you know who the people are that you can send to have the relationships? You know, as my boss always teases me, as being the relationship builder, when it's people that will tell her no, she'll send me to go, Marquise, you got a relationship with so-and-so. Can you get this done for us? And then miraculously, whatever we need to get done gets done. So you see, as us being part of the team, we work strategically together to make sure that all these different pieces work together. And so what I wanted to tell you all, and that's key and important, those of you who have all 4, have at least one in all 4 of the places, that means you can work at any one of these veins. You can be in a strategic vein. You can be in the relationship. You can be in influencing. You can be executing. But you need to make sure you know who is at the table with you, because you only want to take the position where there isn't that person present. So if influencing and relationship building and strategic thinking is already, there's a person who that is their strength, let them work in that strength and you work in the strength that's missing. Because
you don't want to end up butting heads with somebody that has that same similar woo, or that same similar command as you want to find that strength of that other person, even if you have all 4. I mean, that's my take on it.
Yeah, and then that's what it is, because you don't, I mean, also because you have to think about it as you're trying to work with a team. You're going to be fighting for double duty, but when you can do something else. And one of the times I did this workshop, we had a family on here, and they did an annual breast cancer walk, and it was a great example where one of the sister and the aunt had similar strengths, and they were always fighting, never could get anything done, because they were both trying to jockey for the same position, not understanding like, oh, wait a minute, but if I step back and let the person that this is their jam, this is what they do, knowing that I can do something else, it changed the whole dynamic. And it's funny because she brought it back to her family and later sent me back an email and said that once I told this to my mother, my sister, and my aunt, we all learned how to work strategically together. She said we're much more productive than we've ever been before from looking at this, from learning.
Sometimes the hardest part for a person with that strength to actually do, because that's like their mindset, but to actually step back and say, well, wait a minute, let me listen and feed off of what you're trying to tell me as well. And yeah, that's sometimes the hardest thing to do,
right,
as a leader.
And that's part of the reason why we have this conversation, because we want to know that how vitally important is that you want to learn your strengths so that you know your strengths well enough so that you know when to step back, you know when to step up, you know when to bring in other people, so that you're always working in the best possible vein. And so, and I say this too, we're not going to do this activity, but normally we'll just have you to think about like what domain is dominant for you, which one's the least dominant, how have you been maximizing that, and have you been blind to any of your less dominant domains? And so what I would say is you all have this worksheet, you do it for homework, it's for your own personal growth, so you can kind of really think about, how am I using, am I leaning to one strength more than the other? Am I not focusing in another area? Am I blocking someone else from being able to be collaborative with me because I'm not paying attention to who's all at the table? Because sometimes we get very comfortable in our strengths because they're so natural to us. We don't like to come out of our comfort zone, but there could be another strength that we have that's phenomenal to use And when we use it, we're dynamite. And when we don't, we're not being as productive. And so we want to make sure that we look at that across the board. So the next piece kind of gets us to lead into this idea, and I talked about this earlier, about this idea about shadow side and barrier labels. So with your shadow side is when you apply your talent in a negative way. The barrier label is discounting someone else's talent or making a powerful talent and mistaking a powerful talent for weakness. And so a great way to look at this is when we think about the second piece for barrier label, discounting someone else's talent, is we think about command. Everybody thinks about command and they was like, oh, you're assertive, you get things done. And sometimes people can take that in the negative as, okay, you too assertive. And sometimes you come off as rude and disrespectful, and then you take over everything, and then people don't want to necessarily work with you. But the key factor, it is a powerful strength when you're using it in the proper way. And so we want to remind ourselves that sometimes we can have some phenomenal strengths that we're not using in the right vein. And so we're teaching ourselves and learning, how do we use it in the right way? And how do we recognize, oh, I'm not using this in the right way, and kind of shut that down so that you're always at that near perfect performance. But that means you also have to be able to practice it, utilizing it in a positive way all the time. The next thing we want to talk about, this shadow side, when you apply your talent in a negative way. So one of the ones is the there's someone on here who has, it's the significance. It's someone on here that has significance. So it says, people with significance want to be very important in others' eyes. They're independent and want to be recognized. So sometimes you can take that talent and put it in a negative way. So you can apply your talent in a negative way. So I want us to really thinking about, it doesn't mean that that person always wants to be recognized and they work independently together and they don't contribute, because they do contribute. They bring some great value to the thing, because those are the people that are reminding us, like, okay, we need to toot our horn a little bit. We need, like, our office right now, we don't have anyone who has significance in our group. And so we do all this great work, but we have nobody to promote it. So when it's time for people to look at how well you've done, we just trying to get to the next thing. So you need that person with significance to be able to say, wait, recognize our talent. Let's recognize what we do, not just internally, but let other people know what we're doing. So you see how in the end, it's beneficial. So it's key and important. So I'm going to give us an example for us to kind of really think about this. So I'm going to bring them all up. So we got futuristic. So if anybody got futuristic, I'm just going to have y'all think about it differently. So when you think about shadow sides, barrier labels, when you are in your jam, you're creative, you stretch others, you're visionary, you inspire others. When you in that negative side barrier label, people look at you and they say, you're out there, your head is in the clouds, you're a dreamer, you're not being realistic. So the key factor is, how do we make sure we stay up here at the top? We have to practice it. We need to know when we're doing it. We need to know exactly how to stay focused, how to make sure that we're giving consistent ideas, how we're using our strategic plan. So futuristic thinks about things that are happening in the future 5 years from now. But if you're focusing, if you're in a meeting and y'all focused on what y'all gonna do for the next 2 weeks, and then you start talking about stuff that you're gonna do in the next 5 years, is that productive right there in that moment? No. So it's key for us to remember and think about, like, how am I using like this? Now, when you're talking about the strategic plan, there you go. The next 5 years is key and important. If you want to talk about data, if you want to talk about revenue, if you want to talk about how we're going to take our company, our skill sets to the next level, then you start bringing in what the next 5 years look like, because those are key and important. But if you're talking about what I'm going to have for lunch today, not so much. So just want us to think about, like, you can use those creative ideas. You'll stretch others. You'll be a visionary because you'll come out the gate with all these great ideas, wanting to work with people. You'll have a whole way of thinking and doing But if you are not focused, if you're not really placing your ideas in the right vein and using them in the right vein, people will have this negative connotation on you. So, Guadalupe is saying that's my number one. And it's okay, but you're learning, how do I do that? And so for me, one of the things I learned with my input, I had to learn, because I like to collect so much information, when is the appropriate time for me to bring in that information piece, that statistic. If we just hanging out with the girls and we're not even talking about that, and I start bringing in things, probably not the right time. I'm not using it at the right time. But if we're talking about a good intellectual conversation and I bring in that anecdote, and they be like, oh, yeah, that's good. Let's talk a little bit more about that. So you have to know those things for us. And so you all have a sheet that talks about the barrier labels, and we won't go through them tonight for the sake of time, but I want you all to kind of look at them, look at your top 5 strengths and see what your barrier labels are. Really look at them and see, well, what do I need to do? When am I doing that? So a good example is, for me, achiever. I could be seen as unbalanced, brown noser, overcommitted, can't say no, burning the candle at both ends, so too concentrated on work. So I know for me, I can be a workaholic. So I have to make sure I strike that balance of when to say, no, I'm going to leave that to tomorrow. No, I can't cross that off my list. I'm gonna have to take this from this list and put it on tomorrow's list, because tomorrow's another day than sitting at the computer trying to do 12 hours worth of work, and then I'm tired the next day and I'm not productive. The city said that's me. But it's key. So, and Danielle said, yeah. And so, like, those are the things that I want us to think about. So, like, it gives you all of those different paces, like where you in your, so instead of saying this is you and your barrier label, how do you start to take it where it says, this is my talent and this is what my talent enables me to do? Questions on any of that? Okay. Questions? Okay. So, a few things I want us to think about as we get ready to close. So just things to think about. So think about, where have you led to success? So where have your strengths actually led you to be successful, and where has it created barriers in your life? Those are questions you want to ask yourself to help you to really develop your strengths, and to be able to see, when am I in my barrier label section, and when am I when I'm thriving. So when I'm thriving, these are when the places I've been in, and when I'm not thriving, when I've created barriers, this has become something where I'm not being as productive. When did those things happen for you? And then we also talk about, remember the patterns of thought. So we have to talk about that. So how were you feeling? What were you thinking? Were you, like for me, I have to think about, was I overwhelmed? And did I get enough rest? Have I been burning the candle at both the ends? Do I need to tell some people no? Do I need to delegate to get myself back into that leading in that successful way? And then remember, you want to also think about the investment in time and energy you're making in your strengths. If you're not taking the time to look at your strengths, evaluating them, where am I at with this strength? Am I being where it says that what it enables me to do? And if I'm not, well, what examples, what opportunities can I make for myself to do that for you? And then I would encourage you all to share your strengths with your supervisor. Give them a little bit, if they are not aware of it, give them a little bit of a brief tutorial on what your strengths are. You guys have the documents, and then they can help you to think about, how are you doing that in your work role? It can help you to think about, how do you take your leadership skills to the next level? How do you take it to the promotion that you want to get to? How do you take it to the team? Also think about collaboratively where you're working in the classroom. How are you working in your team and your groups? I know most of you all now are working in a lot of groups, especially via Zoom and breakout rooms and so forth. So how do you take your strength and utilize it in that area as well? And then last piece, we just want to think about the review. So strengths enables us to identify and develop our skills as leaders. So being able to do that, overcome our weaknesses. So no longer are we going to be trying to be mediocre individuals and mediocre leaders. We're really going to think about, how do I bring in another person? How do I let somebody else thrive in their strengths and allow me to thrive in mine? and how do I become a more effective, collaborate more effectively? And sometimes that means delegating. Sometimes that means stepping back. Sometimes that means being able to observe the room and seeing who are my executors, who are my relationship builders. And it also means, instead of trying to kill yourself to try to do everything, just step back and let somebody else help you. There's nothing wrong with us asking for help, because we're teaching other people. As we learn to ask for help, we're modeling for other people that it's okay to get help as well. And then you have a more productive team. You have a more energized team, excited team. So when we go back to at the beginning, when it talks about strengths, they're 3 times more likely to enjoy their job, 6 times more likely to have a passionate life, because at this point, you've learned how to balance yourself out. You've learned how to work in your own vein and thrive in your skill set, but also you're empowering, you're encouraging other people, and you're learning how to do that in a way that brings a cohesive group together and helps you all to lead and keep your eye on the prize of whatever the goal is for the team. Okay. And then last piece, I want you all to just to think about, again, how will you apply your strengths in the different groups that you're a part of? What is the one thing that you want to focus on transforming into effective strength? So I would say every 3 months, you should be trying to look at another strength and how do you strengthen it and make it more effective. And then I always say this, share your results with a loved one. And I say this is because it's going to change some of you all's relationships. And this is a quick anecdote. A colleague of mine, his partner, one of his top 5 was competition. And him and a group of friends went to a yoga class. And they were in the yoga class and they got to relax and stretch and breathe and came out rejuvenated and ready to go to take on the rest of their day. And when their partner came out, their partner was like, I did the best downward dog better than anybody in the group. And everybody was looking like, dude, we are relaxed. What do you mean? We wasn't in competition. But then he had to remind everybody, their partner did was like, they like to, competition's their top 5. They like to be in competition for everything. So when they saw that, people didn't no longer look at them as like, oh, okay, you interesting, but looked at it like, oh, okay. So no matter what we do, it's going to be competitive for you. So it's getting important because it allows other people to understand them better, understand how they behave, how they think, what their feeling is, but also allow people to be able to grow and develop and understand them as a team and understand them as an individual and say, oh, okay, give me a different perspective. So you may find that your strengths will give people in your lives, whether it be a significant other, whether it be a best friend, where it be another family member, to understand you better. This is why I think the way that I think. This is why I do the things that I do. This is why who I am, because it's my natural strength that comes into play. And when you start to read them, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, I see that. And then they'll be able to understand things a little bit better. Your conversations will be different because then they'll realize, instead of thinking that you have communication in because you like to talk, because my family always teases me because they said, everywhere we go, I know somebody. Well, that's my woo. That's the woo coming into play. And I explained to them, I was like, well, I got woo, winning over others. I like to win over new people. So it's a chance we're gonna meet somebody that I know. And so now they've kind of embraced it and realized, okay, they also realize as an asset, because they'll call me up and be like, do you know somebody in the such and such area? Because I need a favor. So you'll see later on how it really benefits. And then Shannon says, I read the input to my husband and he was like, yeah, you are totally a back. Yes. So you will start to understand, and people will start to get to understand you a little bit better in the same process. So, questions?
Going back to the whole quiz thing, so that will be like, that'll be due by like when? So for us.
So actually, whenever you attend the live version, you don't have to do the quiz. The quiz is only for the people who don't attend the live version.
Got it.
I talked about the quizzes because like we've learned over a couple of years of doing this that of course people are busy and things happen and life happens, and some people like to be able to do it at their leisure and can't always make the live session. So we started recording them and creating quizzes to make it more accessible for other people who can't be here at this time because some people have classes. And so only if
That
you
makes
don't,
sense.
yeah. So
That
if you
makes
don't,
sense.
yeah. So if you don't attend a live session, then you have to do the quiz. If you attend the live session, the only thing I'm going to ask you to do is this next thing is to complete the evaluation. So on your screen, and you'll see the bit.ly, it'll take you to a SurveyMonkey and you can easily do it. Or if you have your phone, just scan your phone with your camera, it'll take you directly to the SurveyMonkey and you can complete it there. So it helps us to get some concepts around how we can improve and what we can do better with the workshop, but it also helps us to kind of get engaged with like, are we teaching you all what we want you to learn as well? Okay, perfect. And so I know there were a couple people in here who were not, and I'm going to stop sharing and stop the recording.